If you thought February was stacked with high-profile PlayStation releases worth playing, then have I got both good and bad news for you. The bad news is that you'll likely struggle to keep up with all these marvellous March titles, but come on now. That is secretly also the good news, because it means you have lots of enticing options to choose from. That said, if you're properly struggling and want a little guidance, fear not, because we've somehow managed to whittle them down to a list of 12 that we think are well worth your time and consideration. Hi everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and believe me when I say that March looks to be one of the most jam-packed, yet simultaneously varied game release months that we've seen from 2022 yet. There's even yet another major first-party console exclusive set to launch incredibly soon, and we've only just had Horizon Forbidden West. Anyways, that's more than enough teasing. Here are all the mega treats sure to be vying for your time throughout the month of March. Melancholic exploratory adventures didn't get much better than 2018's Far Lone Sails. That's why it's exciting to have its sequel, Far Changing Tides, kick off the month of March. Once again casting you as a lowly sailor tasked with guiding a ship throughout several post-apocalyptic landscapes, now the lands have been flooded, forcing you to keep your vehicle afloat by using your wits and working out various innovative solutions. You'll need to overcome high seas, wild storms, and in some instances, even get to explore the mysterious unknown depths of the water below. All as part of a mysterious adventure that's sure to look great on PS4 and PS5 when it releases on March 1st. Swinging out of the March gates on the 3rd of March is Babylon's Fall, a cooperative-based hack and slasher that places Platinum's signature combat to the forefront. Your task as a sentinel, either solo or with up to 3 friends, is to scale the looming Tower of Babel, using your unrivaled suite of bespoke powers to achieve victory. Babylon's Fall marks Platinum's first PlayStation release of this scale since 2017's utterly excellent Nier Automata, so that should give you some idea of the risks at stake here. Babylon's Fall differs from other action RPGs though, in that there's multiple different weapon classes to choose from, spanning hammers, bows, rods, and of course swords. Do you and friends have what it takes to topple the tower? You only have to wait until March 3rd to find out. PlayStation's premier racing series makes its PS5 debut, alongside a cross-platform release on PS4, on March 4th, with Polyphony Digital once again hoping to claim the crown of being the best driving simulator out there. The incredibly lifelike visuals absolutely speak for themselves, as each of Gran Turismo's 420 plus cars look, feel and handle just as they do in the real world. Adding to this inherent authenticity is the return of GT simulation mode, alongside dynamic time and weather effects. This combines with next-gen PlayStation 5 features like real-time ray tracing, DualSense haptic feedback, and 3D spatial audio to help truly immerse you behind the wheel. A mainline Gran Turismo title running at 4K 60, buckle in on March 4th. Just in case the 150 plus hours it takes you to see and do everything in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla base game still left you wanting more, Ubisoft has an ace up its sleeve in the form of the franchise's most ambitious expansion ever. Dawn of Ragnarok will see the game fully swerve into fantastical territory, having you take part in a battle amongst the Norse gods, a lot of which has only been teased before now as a young Odin in search of their son. Dawn of Ragnarok sits outside of what was promised as part of the season pass, true, but it makes up for this with a boatload of new features, including supernatural powers, mythical mounts, and a surprisingly personal story about the end of days. Look forward to dominating the Norse realms on March 10th. After previously sitting out the last year due to the insanely compromised and disappointing 2K20, large-scale wrestling bouts will return when WWE 2K22 launches on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 this March 11th. Rey Mysterio is your cover star this time around, heading up one of the most expansive roster sets the sports series has ever seen. What's more, WWE 2K's hallmark My Career mode has since been replaced by a mode called My Rise, which will see you forge your own storyline as either a male or female wrestler by making decisions, forming alliances and more. And all this means that every player's experience will be vastly different. Developer Visual Concepts, of course, has a lot to prove with WWE 2K22, and luckily, we don't have to wait long to see if they've finally done it. While we imagine that everyone and their nan has carjacked a vehicle and undergone a heist in GTA 5 already by this point, Rockstar's crime-driven magnum opus finally receives its next-gen PS5 version on March 15th. Yes, it may have been well over a year now since GTA 5 was featured heavily during the PlayStation 5 reveal event, but the fruits of this promise are finally being fulfilled via enhanced visuals, 4K 60fps support, and far faster loading times. Such improvements also extend to the GTA Online component, with progress being easily transferable between the PS4 and PS5 versions. And while we're at it, remember that Online is actually free to download for 3 months from March 15th, so be sure to claim it and jump in if you haven't already. Get ready to fuel up and rev your throttle from March 17th, as Gran Turismo 7 isn't the only racing game releasing this month, sure to whet the appetite of petrolhead players. Oh no. Admittedly, Monster Energy Supercross 5 promises to be a lot more high-flying, but it's all in the effort of staying true to everything motocross. Two-strokes bikes are now available to use in every game mode, from career to multiplayer to the track editor, and a split-screen mode also makes its debut here for the very first time. This means that you'll be able to race shoulder to shoulder with a friend in the same room, using a plethora of bikes amongst dozens of tracks, all in the effort to find out who is the true champion out of the two of you. Of course, Monster Energy Supercross 5 also still lets you take the action online, encouraging you to improve in order to take on the world, soon after beginning as a rookie in the 250 SX class. Be sure to hold onto your handlebars tight on March 17th. What promises to be one of the weirdest and most bonkers Final Fantasy entries yet launches on both PS4 and PS5 this March 18th, in Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. As hinted at in the game's title, this hardcore action RPG spin-off from Team Ninja is actually an alternative take on the first ever franchise installment, casting you as a group of punkish outsiders on a mission to destroy chaos. Various demos released up until now have proven that Stranger of Paradise isn't one to take itself too seriously, instead plunging you into its dark fantasy world full of creative bosses, playstyles, and intricate combat in order to carve out a unique niche within the wider Final Fantasy pantheon. What exactly is GHOSTWIRE Tokyo is a question that we found ourselves asking time and time again ever since the game was first revealed as a PlayStation 5 console exclusive all the way back in 2019. Luckily, all is set to be revealed on March 25th, as the supernatural horror meets high-flying action title from Tango Gameworks, the same studio behind The Evil Within 1 and 2, finally launches. Entirely played from a first-person perspective, you'll traverse a neon-drenched Tokyo using your psychokinetic abilities to rid the city of the haunted spirits infesting it. This fantastical version of modern Tokyo is sure to thrive thanks to the next-gen power only made possible on PlayStation 5, and if you want to put your console through the paces, be sure to do it via this bombastic quest for vengeance on March 25th. 2K's cel-shaded loot shooter franchise swaps planet hopping for dice rolls in this full-fledged spin-off from one of Borderlands 2's best DLCs. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands features the same zany humour and colourful visuals, sure, only now you'll be taking on skeletons, dragons, and all kinds of other fantastical beings as one of 6, yes 6, unique classes. From the go-tating spellshot wizard to the melee stylings of the frost-infused berserker, all can be personalised to your exact liking, with various unique abilities that makes hunting down the best gear and loot even more fun than ever before. So, whether you prefer guns or spells, a whole new tabletop realm of might and magic awaits PS4 and PS5 players in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which launches on March 25th. Sprawling Grand Strategy lands on PlayStation 5 this March 29th, as Crusader Kings 3 tasks you with carving out your path to glory via marvellous top-down tactical action. Will you choose to be a kind or unforgiving medieval ruler? This decision and many more await you as you try to lead your house and bloodline to the ultimate victory as part of this generation-spanning Middle Ages epic. Such an expansive simulation game isn't one that you typically associate with a home console, sure, but developer Paradox has taken an extra year of time to ensure that making these tough choices, which can affect the future of what will eventually become Europe, always feel great to deploy using a DualSense controller. Dynasty simulators really don't get much more ambitious than this, so be sure to check out Crusader Kings 3 from March 29th onwards. Previously scheduled to launch earlier this January before suffering a slight delay, the wait for Wolfeye Studios' dark fantasy take on the American West will no doubt be worth it come March 31st. You take on the role of multiple characters, following their personal stories of heartache and vengeance across 5 drama-fueled chapters. Slowly but surely, these destinies intertwine as part of a wider narrative where you're encouraged to play and experiment within a simulated Wild West sandbox where you can interact and do pretty much almost anything. Whatever your style of play turns out to be, Weird West is sure to impress at the end of this month. So there you have it guys, in terms of our 12 top picks for high profile releases coming to PlayStation 4 and 5 throughout the month of March. Is there a game in particular that's screaming out to you? Be sure to let us know what you think of it in the comment section below. And then, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like and consider subscribing to the PushSquare YouTube channel to stay up to date with all things PlayStation related. Until next time, as ever, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.